So you've brought your character and their weapon to level 80, you've already brought their talents to level 8, and now all you have left is artifacts. You open up that section and you have absolutely zero idea on what to use in the first place. And that's where this guide comes in. Hey everyone, Ithireal here with another guide for Genshin Impact, and today we'll be taking a look at artifacts, so let's get straight to it. What are artifacts exactly? Artifacts are a form of gear that is used to increase the strength and the performance of your characters, and if we use other games as an example, artifacts would be akin to the armor that you wear or the accessories that you put on your character to gain some buff to your stats. Now let's get down to the basics. Artifacts have 5 levels of rarity, ranging from a 1-star rarity all the way to a 5-star rarity, which is the highest rarity in the game. There are multiple ways to obtain them. Those include rewards from opening a chest, killing enemies, acquiring bounties from the Spiral Abyss, and claiming them from petrified trees in Domains of Blessing through the use of resin. If you're not too sure on where to find these Domains of Blessing or which artifact set is obtainable from which domain, what you can do is you can open up your Adventurer's Handbook, that is F1 for PC players, select the Domains tab, and this should give you the information that you need on their respective locations and their drops. Now, moving on, there are 5 types of artifacts that can be equipped. These are the flower, the feather, the timepiece, also known as sands, the goblet, and the circlet. Artifacts have main and sub affixes, but generally we refer to these as main stats or substats because it's easier to call them. Main stats refer to the stat which is tied to their artifact type, and their value increases as the artifact gets enhanced to a higher level. Each artifact type has a varying main stats tied to them. The flower will always have flat HP, and the feather will always have flat attack for their main stat. Meanwhile, the remaining 3 types have varying main stats. For the timepiece, we have the general tree, which are attack percent, defense percent, and HP percent. We also have elemental mastery and energy recharge. On the other hand, for the goblet, we have the general tree once again, elemental mastery, and elemental damage, which includes the 7 elements currently in the game and physical damage. Lastly, for the circlet, we have the general tree, elemental mastery, crit rate, crit damage, and healing bonus. The maximum value of these stats differ based on their rarity. The higher the rarity of the artifact, the higher the maximum values. Substats. Substats or affixes are stats that appear randomly on each individual artifact. Their values also increase along with the artifact's level, but with a little bit of spice to it. Depending on the rarity of the artifact, the amount of substats that it can hold will differ. Here's a visual representation of how many substats the artifact can hold according to their rarity. So 1-star and 2-star artifacts can hold no substats, 3 stars can hold 1 to 2, 4-star can hold 2 to 3, and 5-star can hold 3 to 4. Now, here's how the leveling of substats work. If the artifact has the maximum number of substats based on their rarity, the substats will have their value increase or leveled up every 4 levels. On the other hand, if it doesn't have the maximum number of substats, the first 4 levels will reveal the final substat. The starting value of all these stats have multiple tiers, and the value you gain from leveling them is completely random. This randomness also applies to which substat is leveled up, since only one of them can level up every 4 levels. I hacking love RNG, haha, thanks miHoYo. So, set bonuses. Artifact sets. What are they? In other games, mostly RPGs, wearing pieces of equipment belonging to the same class or group provides some form of buffs to your character. The same applies to artifact sets. For this case, putting on 2 pieces or 4 pieces of the same artifact set will provide the character their respective bonuses. The 2-piece bonus are usually quite straightforward, providing buffs to your character's stats such as their HP, attack, energy recharge, and so on. Meanwhile, the 4-piece bonus are more specific with the buffs they give and the way it is delivered. Take the 4-piece of the Emblem of Severed Fate, for example. Increases elemental burst damage by 25% of energy recharge. A maximum of 75% bonus damage can be obtained this way. What this means is that the elemental burst damage of your character is increased by a quarter of how much total ER they possess. Let's take another example with the 4-piece effect of the Viridescent Venera. Increases swirl damage by 60%, decreases opponent's elemental res to the element infused in the swirl by 40% for 10 seconds. So that means the bonus increases the swirl damage done by your character by 60%. And Swirl is essentially the reaction you get when a Nemo meets either Pyro, Hydro, Electro, or Cryo. On top of that, the enemies hit by Swirl will have their elemental resistance decreased by 40% for 10 seconds based on what element was swirled. So if the swirl was a Pyro swirl, that means their Pyro resistance will be decreased by 40%, and the same applies to the other 3 elements. Since there's a maximum of 5 different artifact types that you can equip, your characters can utilize 2 different sets of artifacts to benefit from both their 2-piece set bonuses. On the other hand, you can also equip a full 4-piece set and benefit from the 2-piece and 4-piece bonus since they are cumulative. The remaining artifact slot in this case can be an on-piece or an off-piece artifact. An off-piece artifact refers to the artifact that does not belong to the set that is currently equipped on the character. So now that all this information is presented to you, how should you equip your characters? Since this is a guide for beginners, we will only go up to 3-star artifacts for recommendation. If you are a new player and your adventurer rank is below 45 or AR 45, I personally do not recommend farming for artifacts until your characters are properly geared and leveled up and that you reach AR 45. So we are going to go with the assumption that you will have access to the free characters in the game, which includes the Traveler, Amber, Kea, Lisa, and Barbara. I would say early on, for artifact sets, the Adventurer and the Traveling Doctor set is great for your adventuring needs, as the healing provided by the 4-piece effect will keep your characters alive as long as you open chests and use your elemental burst. This is especially good early on since it would be quite inconvenient to visit the Statue of 7 for healing every time your characters get injured or lose a certain amount of HP. For which artifacts to level up, you could try to bring up the flower, as leveling up the flower means gaining more HP, and more HP means more survivability to your characters. If you're looking for more damage, you could level up the feather, as it provides flat attack, and most of the characters in the game and their damage tend to scale off attack. And somehow, if you happen to get your hands on attack percent timepieces or sands, elemental damage goblets for your characters, and crit circlets, you could also level them up, or you could also keep them, or just equip them and leave them unleveled. Do keep in mind that enemies are not very strong early on, so it is completely possible to defeat them without leveling up most of your artifacts. Since this is a beginner's guide, there isn't much to talk about since we only went over the very basics for artifacts. If you guys are AR45 and you're looking for a guide, or you're looking towards grinding the artifact domains, stick around for when I release, as I work towards the advanced version of this guide. Anyways, that's it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, leave a comment down below if you have any feedback and that you'd like to give, or any questions you'd like to ask, and I'll do my best to answer them. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.